All right, making pretty good progress. See if you can tell which window is not tinted. Of all these windows, there is one not tinted. And it's this one. So upper ones were really a pain, but I could tell this morning when the sun is up high, like this is east, when the sun was coming up like this, and then this is south. The sun still, it still feels like you're in the sun, but it feels a little bit more like a cloudier day when it's sunny. So it's definitely a lot nicer. And then these windows, also have somewhat an effect because when the sun's coming through, the rays are warming out here, but they're also warming right here. So this should hopefully cut down on the heat gain throughout the day. But you can really, if you look, it's not that different. You'll notice the pilasters in the background or even the columns are like really white, and then you can notice they're a little darker. Beyond that, if you look out there, it doesn't seem shadowy or excessively dark. So I don't think the view is worsened. If anything, sometimes it looks a little better. It's less like washed out, or it's almost like just wearing nice sunglasses. But this one remains. So kind of what I've done in my routine is, here's the scraps from this one, which I just did. I get it cut a little big. I bring it over so there's about an inch overlap everywhere. There's no chance I'm gonna be able to do this holding the phone. And then I just start to squeegee it out, get most of the bubbles out. And then I'll cut really carefully along this rubber seal. It's a black rubber seal there. These windows are kind of a pain in my butt, but you'll notice I've definitely gotten a lot better. And you'll still, that's actually ripping the screen, but you'll notice it's pretty much right on the money for a DIY guy. These doors are cool because the seal's further in, so this is easier to just run the blade right along the line because there's no rubber to hit. So it turned out pretty good. This pack of break snap off razor blades has been perfect. I really only do like one window, snap a piece off, do another one. You're gonna burn through tons of blades. And the microfibers are lint free. And then this squeegee with the felt lining has been excellent. So I've got that one more to do, and I've got my tint pre-rolled. It'd be kind of nicer to get a cleaner workspace, but I'm just doing what I need to do. So like this is my next piece. It's 1 inch larger than I need. So I'm gonna basically drag this over here. I put a piece of tape on the clear side, a piece of tape on the black side, start to separate the clear protective layer, and spray, spray, spray. The spray is basically one of those full of deionized, or in my case, reverse osmosis water with probably like 10 drops of dish detergent or baby shampoo, and then like a few ounces of alcohol. I looked up the formula, and that's working really good. So right now that window's clean. What I'm gonna do is come over like this. I'm gonna get this into position a little bit better. And as you can see, I'm one hand short holding the phone, so I'm being a little harsh dragging it with my foot. But I've got that in place. I'm gonna go over here and blast this thing, get it all soaked, peel the clear layer, soak this, and then carefully walk over there and start working it. So I'll check back. All right, so I literally just set this piece, as you can see. And a little note, so this is the edge that was computer cut or machine cut. These are my cuts, sloppy rough cuts to cut it big. So I usually like to plan for where I'm gonna put that precise cut. On this window, for example, I put the precise cut right here, just because I find the extra slack is a little bit easier to work on the middle of the window. Whereas let's say, I guess with the doors, I put the precise cut behind the handle so I don't have to run the razor blade as difficult, around the handle. So I end up cutting this, and this. But it's not that big of a thing. This one's just easier than having the big flap of extra hitting the window frame or the drywall. So right now it's just slopped up on there. I've got it pretty much where I want right here. It'll make a little bit more sense when I start to squeegee it out. So you'll notice I'm gonna start working these bigger bubbles out. And I like to go one up, one down, and then one to the right in about the middle, and then one to the left. And then I just kind of check to see if I'm roughly where I want, because it's easier to shift this film around right now. The more bubbles I start to push out, the more it sort of locks into place. So I think it looks pretty good. So I'm going to start pushing this out. Just like this. I'll do a little bit over here. And I'm using fairly firm pressure, but not so firm where I'm gonna gouge the film, even though this squeegee has like the felt. I've used non-felt ones before, and I've scratched up the film a little bit. I've tinted a lot of stuff, but like my last house, I did the whole house. But mostly I'm playing around with car stuff, tinting windows, some taillights, stuff like that. So I have some film experience, but definitely not a professional tinter. So I think this is fairly DIY friendly, depending on how high your expectations are. So I think realistically, if you look at this window, I could probably find a defect. It's this one. I'm getting better as I go too, but like the corner right there, if you really look, there's a little bit of an error in my cut. So like if you're, shoot, that's hard to even find a defect really. But in the earlier windows when I was a little rougher, you might, I found one. So look, there's a little bit of a miss right down there in the corner. If you're not willing to live with stuff like that, you need to hire this job out. But if you could live with little stuff like that, you could save. I talked with 5 different places, because this is not our first house. This is like, this is our second house. This house, we spent a lot of money on this one, and so my standards are exceptionally high. But I did call around because I didn't really want to DIY this. I wanted to have it professionally done. I couldn't even get anybody to give me a price. Everybody just wanted to say, oh, well, we'd have to come and give you an estimate. And I was trying to tell them, the number of windows, and then I've already bought the film, and, I'm looking to, I'd have paid $500 a day for a professional window tinter to come out and do this. And I told them that, and they were not interested in that type of a figure. So, which tells me they're going to bring a crew, and it's going to be thousands of bucks. So get some prices if you can. I couldn't even really get a price without having somebody come out and walk through the house. And it was just like, for all that trouble, I'm just going to do this, because I already know I just know the price is going to be not cheap. If they were going to do it even remotely close to what I was saying, like $500 a day, I think I would have gotten more action on my several phone calls. So I know it's going to be a lot. All right, with all that baloney talking, I get this pretty well squeegeed out. I'm going to squeegee the whole window again, but you notice it looks pretty decent, and I'm happy with where that is. You see there's some bubbles here that I still have to work out, but I'm overall happy with that line, which means the next step is start cutting. So I got my X-Acto with a brand new blade. I've got one of these. I could snap the end off and do a fresh cut, but I'm just gonna give you a quick little sample. So this corner is gonna be a pain. So what I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna start in the corner. I'm gonna start up here, and I'm just gonna slice it, and I'm gonna kind of bump the razor blade up against that rubber seal without cutting into the seal. So I'm using the seal basically as like a guide. I'm gonna bring it over, and this is what I found as I've gotten a little better. The corners are tough. I'm gonna follow through the corner. I'm not gonna make the corner cut yet. Okay. So I'm gonna You gotta finish that up. Really tough with the camera. Okay, now see, this one gets a little tricky, but what I'm gonna do is come up through, and I'm just gonna, this one I am gonna do the corner, because the corner's a little rounded because this has a rubber seal, which means I really have to freehand it, which is a pain. All right, but what I found was, like, if I started in that corner, by the time I'm over here, the whole film is dragging down and hanging, and it's really hard to get a straight cut there. So I kind of leave the corner attached so I can make the bulk of the cut straight, you know, finish through and come back and cut the remaining corner. So that type of thing, you know, seems like I'm having a pretty good result. And then I'll come through and I'll squeegee like this. And then what I think I'm gonna have to do right here is, if you notice, I'm pushing that, but it's still kind of folding up. This seal is not perfectly straight, so I'm gonna have to come through with the razor blade and just do a little trim. Even though that seal, even though basically this was the machine cut, it's perfectly straight, obviously the seal's not perfectly straight. So I'm just gonna come by close as I can to the seal and trim a little off. Just like if it was the rough cuts that I did, except this one in theory shouldn't need it, except as you saw, when I was pushing it down, it wouldn't lay down. But now that I've trimmed it just a hair, it's laying right down. And if you're really good, better than me, you can even tuck it behind the seal, and then you'll have no edge. And realistically, nobody will know these windows are tinted unless they really come over and look. And I've seen some done professionally, and some of those are amazing. But it's gonna spend some pretty good money. So that's probably about it. Other than I do want to do a little bit of an experiment, because this is the nano. Actually, I think this was carbon ceramic with high IR rejection and UVA and B blocking. So I want to do a little bit of a temperature experiment, but I'm gonna do that out at my shop out there, with those big windows that are south facing. They catch a lot of heat. This one I don't think would be the best one to actually measure. So continuing. pretty nice clean lines. This is just shown weird in the light. So I found cutting them in place works the best. And then to give you a little reference, this window's not done. This window is. So it doesn't really look, all three of these are done. It doesn't really look much darker in the evening, which is good when you want more light. Same with over here. Those look plenty light, but they're actually all done already. So I'll do another one. Next one that I do, I'll do like half and then get a video of half. But it's evening, so I don't have a whole lot of sun, so there's nothing to see right now. You can just barely tell with those ones.